Nothing quite like searing through enemies with two Glocks in each hand on a nice wintry day in Agora. Twin Blast, aka Mr. Guns with his Shadow Ops swag, is a force to be reckoned with. You feed him well and you can reap the benefits of domination, okay? You can start dishing out pain with Twin Blast in literally the first few minutes of the game if you have a good support to kick things off in the early game. It can mean lights out for the opposing offlaner. If I choose a carry, I'm typically playing off of the support to dictate our aggression levels. If they're aggressively denying the opposing team's offlaner, putting in pop shots, or just generally harassing them, I'm going to also apply some pressure. If they're not as aggressive, I may still try to go in there and poke at them. But I gotta be careful here because you still want to focus on last hitting on those minions and getting your farm. Very, very important. Now I start this crit build off with 2 strike tokens and Bump Juice. It's my first 2 picks. Bump Juice instantly restores 85 health. If all goes as planned, I take my first back between 6 and 9 points. And then I typically pick up my first 6-point Spear of the Rift Hunter. And then I pick up my next and I start working on that one. Now I max out Spear of the Rift Hunter, both of those as quickly as possible so I can get that additional crit bonus and have a little bit more damage as you trail into the later part of early game and transition into mid game. I'm hoping that we've applied enough pressure on the tier 1 tower that it's either gone by my first back or we return to lane and then quickly take it down. And then if possible, I try to call for a lane swap with our team's offlaner, which is a strategy that can be applied in a number of games if everyone is working together. And that really just depends on your tower situation. Now, as we transition into mid game, I am starting to build more and more damage and slowly building up crit over time. Again, those Spear of the Rift Hunters are my primary crit until the very end of the game. Now, by this time, I should have my 12-point micro nuke started, which I slot out with power. And then after maxing that out, I pick up a 12-point brand of the Iron Eater. And I don't max this out right away, but I max it out over time. So I start off, I replace Bump Juice with brand of the Iron Eater, and this is my sustainability and helping me keep alive with that lifesteal. And then as we transition further into that mid to late game, I take 2 routes. One, I either try to max out my 12-point blast harness ASAP, which I feel with kinetics, and that attack speed plus that crit bonus is fantastic. Or I go with my 12-point whirling wand, slot it with more power, aka damage, and then get the 11 attack speed bonus on top of that. And this is 2 6-point cards and then 4 12-point cards in this build. So what you'll notice is that this build starts off with a quick amount of damage and output via the Spear of the Rift Hunters, and then it switches to very spiky damage once I get built up and get into my groove. I start spiking very hard towards that mid-late game and then into the late game, it's just a lot of fun to build like this for me. But again, it takes a lot of investment, and hopefully you're farming, which it should be your primary goal. I'll farming everyone. But this build process, I don't use Blink Charm or Blink Shot. Now I have them in my deck. All right, as my last card, I do not pick these up, but I do have a 12-point Blink Shot in case I want to use that by the end of the game. Now, instead, I've been using Red Eye Nitro, which adds attack speed and additional crit chance. So I have this kind of, I guess, evolving sense of value for Blink Charm. Some heroes and some games I use it a lot. It just really depends on if enemy team composition is one that can harass the heck out of me, or if I feel like I just want a bit more mobility, I'm really slaying, I can put in Blink Shot in there and then, get a kill, and then I got my blink instantly again. So really just kind of feeling it out, but this is the crit build that I am using. Now, in terms of Twin Blast kit, I think it's pretty straightforward here, but I do want to go over it very quickly. Now, rapid fire for those that have used Twin Blast is a great ability that you can use on multiple scenarios. You can use it for additional last hits. If you can't get that basic attack hit, that double shot, you can use it for quick taps of damage on tower objectives, and you can use it to burst down enemy heroes. And then with crit, it's so lovely with the crit and lifesteal in this to have rapid fire. So mastering this ability is critical to success with this kit and with this build. I primarily use grenades, which is the AoE grenades, and now has 3 of them, to wave clear minions in lane or in the jungle. I will use it in team fights and against enemy players if I want to tap more damage output, but I don't find myself using it a whole heck of a lot. Instead, I'm focusing on double shot, basic attacks, and rapid fire. And then the rocket dash can be your safety net if you're using it to evade attacks, or it can be a gap closer if you need to finish off a kill. Somebody's running away, you got them hurt. You can get a little bit closer with rocket dash and take him out. Use it wisely, because if you don't have it and you're getting ganked or something like that, you just want to be very cautious about how you use rocket dash. And then last, the ultimate, ventilate. Now, I see a lot of folks kind of struggling with this. I primarily use ventilate to finish off enemies with low health. It's a medium range finisher. If you see someone with low health, you can activate it and tear them up. The other scenario I find myself using it is on enemies that are stun locked. So Decker hits someone with a stasis bomb, Narbash hits someone with a thunk, Rampage comes in with a boulder, and then someone is just sitting there in place, and I'm like, okay, well, ventilate. I'm going to just burn them up, right? So I try to burst them down when they're stun locked, and that's a great opportunity to use it. The other ability I like to combo ventilate with is Gideon's ultimate. There's just something so satisfying watching people struggle to get out of Gideon's ult and then just lighting them up. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, literally like shooting fish in a barrel. It is so fun. So those are the scenarios that I like using ventilate. The biggest thing here is you want to utilize it at medium range as a finisher on enemies with low health. That's the primary use. Primary use. Finish. And that's all I got for you guys. I'm finished. Catch you later.